Welcome back. So to the men's singles, we join it at the start. Commentary from Pat Cash, Fred Stolley and Gerard Whateley.
Ready? Play. Lovely.
He's got some strapping on the right knee. That wasn't there the other day, was it?
No, it was not. He's got a little bit of tendonitis in there, and so he's trying to prevent it getting any worse.
Isner committed at this tournament to practicing his volley coming to the net. He said he might even do it 75 times. Found lacking there.
Well, that's playing into Hewitt's hand. Hewitt likes the target, and he's got the job of returning the Isner serve, but he won't mind hitting those passing shots.
Hewitt's record here at the Hopman Cup in singles. He's been fixtured in 14 encounters. One he couldn't take the court in. He's won 10 and lost 3. And yet he's been part of a losing tie in the past 5 occasions.
He's had a few injuries. He had chicken pox one year, didn't he? And then an injury another year. He's been a bit of bad luck over here, so I hope that don't put the mocker on him here today.
Yeah, it's a neat start from Leighton Hewitt.
First game.
Australians one love. We've scored a bit on John Isner, particularly here on Sunday when he took to the court. You always want to look your best in the moment of execution, and Isner took that further than most sportsmen I've seen when he stood under a lob from Tommy Robredo.
He's got time to go and hold on. Look, there goes the hat. One shoulder, the other shoulder, turns it around and then takes 2 steps forward. There's that. No, take the sweat off the nose, pull it, go to the right one. Hey, keep your eye on the ball, though, on all times, and 1 step forward, then he bounces it into the expensive box seats.
I've known the odd jockey who in the last 50 metres of a race prepared himself for the photo, but that was something else. Isner ready to send down the first missile.
In 15-9.
Compare the 2 backhands, and Pat alluded to it the other day. Hewitt very stiff in his take back with the 2-hander, and most players are a little bit more relaxed and with a bent arm. Well, that's good touch from Hewitt. Clever thinking as well, because Isner wasn't really out of position by any means. He snuck in, and he is one of the best volleyers in the game at the moment, Leighton Hewitt. And I think it's fair to say that a lot of us would love to see him into the net as Isner bounces the ball between his legs. He does that. He's a keen basketballer. A bit of a height advantage over most. And you know, the basketballs bounce the ball between their legs. So does Roger Federer. And Boris Becker used to do it too, didn't he?
I don't
know if Boris was that talented. Baghdadis used to. There you go.
Can have a look.
Might have just. Come on, Hawkeye, Fred.
Yes,
no, that was good. That was good. You've been right just about every time this week.
I blew a couple this morning. First match, yeah. No, just losing the edge, I think. Oh, Oh, lost it again.
Fred, that's
that.
it.
No, I've gone off the boil.
You're out of here.
That's it.
Going to switch from black to red on the wheel, Fred.
And this is one of the problems with Isner's game and his height. He sometimes, often actually, gets a little too close to the ball. He's got those long arms, so he needs to make sure that his body is a fair way away from the ball. There he's trying to run around, but of course the ball was chasing him. Just got too close.
Trouble for Isner. Hewitt makes the break right out of the gates. Gifted it with a double fault following a previous one in the service game. So untidy from the American on serve. And Hewitt with a 2-love lead.
From that height, 2 double faults is not great. That's a very bad start, and you know, he's gonna have to really pull his socks up here and do something about the returns. It's not his strong part of his game, so he's really let himself down there early in the match.
50 now.
That previous meeting last year in Shanghai was lopsided. It only went 77 minutes. It was 6-2, 6-4 in Hewitt's favour, and Isner really didn't get any of his weapons going that day.
You see Hewitt there moving the ball on that serve. It wasn't a big serve, but it was enough. It moves off the court again there. At full stretch, that's 2 mishits on the forehand because of the movement on the serve. But Hewitt's job today was to try and break serve, and boy, he'd be very happy to do it first up.
Nice outswinger, isn't it?
He's very tidy early.
Well, we love that, Leighton. Keep it up.
Hasn't missed a first serve yet.
It's the same serve to the forehand. It opens the court, and good execution on the volley. Good firm racket.
It's a commanding start from Leighton Hewitt. 3-love in no time.
Australia leads 3 games.
And gone in just a tick more than 60 seconds. We enjoyed Hewitt's work on Saturday's court coverage. His transition from the back of the court up to the net. He was there right from the beginning.
That was a major point of the match too, that one. He managed to pick that one up. It almost stumbles there. There he goes. He's going so fast. He lost his balance, and it's so much about tennis is the balance. You see guys like Roger Federer who always look just so perfectly balanced. And
veins in his neck there. Look at that, they're really popping out.
The thing about Leighton Hewitt's his speed around the court is not so much when he from that, which is like from A to B sort of movement, but it's his braking power and being able to change directions. So he'll run to the side, he'll hit the ball, he can stop just so quickly and get back into position. And that is a major thing for a tennis player to do, obviously, to go side to side, backwards and forwards all the time at breakneck speeds. Certainly puts a lot of strain on the knees. No wonder he's got a bit of tendonitis there.
John Isner has to pick up the thread here.
That's a fantastic return. Now that's a nasty one because the right-hander will follow through to the left side. There he is, and then he's had to change directions quickly. The inside-out return. It's probably the greatest exponent of that is Bobby Boris Becker in the modern era.
Oh, robbed there, hit the tape.
Everything's going wrong, isn't it?
What is going on here?
Fred, in your era, who had that great inside out or slice? Ken Rosewell, I suppose.
Yeah, Muscles had a pretty good one. Well, most of the players in that era, it never hit it away from the body. You basically sliced it because it was more of a slice return than you either hit it flat. You had very little topspin in the game in those days with the wooden rackets. Rocket obviously had a pretty good slice and pretty good topspin, but he had a left arm like a tree trunk. Laver was left-handed.
Laver, sorry,
yeah.
I thought you said
Laver. He did the topspin. Kenny never hit topspin backhands.
Wielding that wooden racket around, huh?
A mitt full of break points again for Hewitt. Well, this is getting right out of hand for the American. Broken twice that time to Love. He's nowhere to be seen through barely 12 minutes.
Well, you might as well start the second set now because this one's done and dusted. A couple of service breaks. I think Isner is capable of breaking the Hewitt serve 3 times to get back and win a set. So he's got to realise this is a slow start and he's got to try and rectify things in set number 2.
What is important here is that Isner at least gets a bit of confidence by going for a few shots and holding on to serve at some stage. Looking at the second set. That's better play. Nothing to lose now, really, has he?
No, you're exactly right. Yeah, this set's pretty much history. But he's got to keep his mind on the job to try and get into it and experiment with the ground strokes and get some consistency, and then some reliable first serves. The first serve percentage, 44% for him, is not good. It'll be a long time since he's been at that stage.
Questions during the tournament.
15.
And Sarah is a tennis novice who's used the email address hotmancup@abc.net.au for you, Pat. She's asking about the term a heavy ball and what it means and how to best hit it.
Yeah, well, there's no sort of real official definition for a heavy ball.
13, 15.
But generally speaking, a heavy ball would be with a bit of topspin, but more importantly, deep and accurate. So you have somebody who's got a heavy serve. It may not be a blisteringly hard serve. But somebody like, I don't know, Pat Rafter, for instance, would have with a epitome of heavy ball. He hit it very accurately with a fair amount of spin.
14, 15.
First ace for Hewitt.
That's a heavy serve. Fair amount of spin, very accurate, and not blisteringly hard, with a fair bit of safety. So usually generally means good depth, accuracy with a bit of spin. Well, that's sort of my definition of it. You add on to that, Freddie.
In our era, basically, John Newcombe had a very heavy second serve. It was good, it was deep, and it had some pace on it, had a bit of kick. But there's no real definition of how best to hit it. I think, except as we mentioned, with a little bit of control and You've got to swing at it pretty hard so you get some extra pace on it and some control with the spin. About as good as we can do, I think.
It's a very good question. Yeah, actually, people ask that quite a lot. The other thing is that to hit various serves, like a second serve, whatever, it takes about the same amount of effort because you are putting spin on it. It's no less effort than a first serve.
Hewitt's just running the set here. 5-love with his second ace.
Australia lead 5 games to 1. And 15 love.
Hewitt's got all the answers, though.
Typical Hewitt there. Return, get it down low for the big man, the incoming volleyer. Look where he plays this volley from. Off the shoelaces and mid-court. He's not in far enough. And that's just Hewitt executing that return from inside the baseline and then making sure of the pass.
And passed.
He loves the target. That's what he said, you know, you talk about Isner wanting to be aggressive and come in, but you've got to come in on something pretty good because Hewitt loves the return and loves the target. And look at the pinpoint accuracy here. Eyes on the ball, good top spin, good control of the shot. Played well within himself.
Yeah, that's the secret, isn't it? Well within himself. Didn't need to do too much. It was a poor approach shot. That's what Isner needs to do to get him a bit of confidence. Make sure the ball doesn't come back.
207 his first ace.
Did hit a couple of good body serves the last 2 points. Lost them. And now has got to the stage where, okay, I just need to get under the game under the belt, really. I'm just going to have to go for some aces.
Doubles up. That'll be good for the spirits of John Isner. He's in. He's arrived.
Well, it's great to see he's got a sense of humour after a couple of big serves here and got him on the board.
It's the synergy between coach and player, even when they can't communicate. Craig said he had to find his serve, and he did.
He's a nice, very nice kid. He's a gentle giant, no doubts about that. It's nice to see him at least get on the board here and have a real go in this service game.
Hewitt with the opportunity to close out one of the quickest sets he would have played in quite some time.
I think he would have been quite happy to sneak this out in a tiebreaker.
I think that's what Craig was thinking about. One thing you have to be wary of when you've won a set so easily and so quickly, or you're at this stage at 5-1, you've got to be a little careful that your concentration doesn't slip.
Fantastic lob. Absolutely. It came straight down on top of Leighton.
15-13.
And it's a good pickup from the big fella. almost hit the speakers right at the top there. And see, Leighton didn't get behind the ball. It almost landed, was going to drop behind him. And the secret for those ones is make sure you get far enough back. Or even let it bounce.
30 all.
May as well. You don't get to stack them up.
I'm not even going to ask you anymore, Fred.
No, that one, I think Leighton played that shot. I believe he played that shot, so we'll see. Oh, just missed.
14-30.
Set point for Leighton Hewitt. Had a little bit of bad luck earlier on. He's all square with the fates.
This is Leighton's turn really to not hit a good enough approach shot. And didn't really deserve to win that point, but almost got away with it. Well, you're right, Fred.
First
right.
opportunity, break point. Yeah, you got
Lost a bit of concentration.
Yep.
Fair safety net there, of course. Two breaks. It's,
but this is what we said Isner has to do. You know, if he gets a service break here, I don't think he fully expects he's going to win the set, but he has to get some sort of confidence that when he starts the second set, he's starting from square one again.
This is the ball down on the baseline that Isner thought about.
ooh, clearly out. That's a great play. That's the aggressive stuff that I'd like to see this big fella doing more of, and even following that up. But you know, he's going to get some short second serves from Hewitt over the day.
Second chance at a break for the American.
Oh, that's great. I can't believe it. He says, you've got to be kidding me. He's hit the line, the centre line about 3-4 times already this set. Curling away. It was mainly out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it got away wickedly, didn't it? Second chance to bank the set for Leighton Hewitt. And his foot on the gas from the moment he walked out on court. Finishes the opening set with an ace. 6 games to 1 inside half an hour. He has dragged himself into this, John Isner. And it's a critical service game at the start of the second set.
Doesn't seem to have the rhythm at the moment. It seems to be a little bit jerky at the top of the swing. He's not found the rhythm yet. is a tough ask. Hewitt moved well to get to it, but to throw that little slice lob, you could see Isner just one step, and he's got control of this one. Good volley. Hewitt does a good job, but just one. He didn't try to overplay it because he knows he's that tall. He's got plenty of room to hit it. He's just got to make the shot, so he hardly got his feet off the ground to make that backhand overhead.
Hewitt having to play the return up around the ears. That's
the transition game that I think he has to do a little bit of work on, because he is so tall. When you move forward in there and you stand upright, you've got to get below the ball and you've got to stay down there with the knees. Once you start to straighten that up, he stands up like a totem pole. He's that tall, and that's going to lift the ball and take it long.
It's a tough one for guys that tall, isn't it?
That area of the court, yeah.
It's a sort of almost an unknown territory for coaches to have players at this height.
14-13.
There hasn't been that many players of this height around. Just trying to think, there was Milan Schreiber. Do you remember him?
Yes,
from
I do, yeah.
Czech Republic?
Czech Republic.
Yes.
Kukol, Jan Kukol. Remember him? He's probably a bit before your time. He was a big fella too. The racket looked like a toothpick in his hand.
Where was he from?
From the Czech Republic too.
As well.
Yeah, he's been the Davis Cup coach and also, but he was a bit before.
Schreiber was 6'9". Whatever that is, 203-ish centimetres.
Here's the Delhi getting on the board in the second set. And we have more of a contest now.
First game, second set.
Just a closer look at the serve.
Yeah, the doesn't have the rhythm in the opening stages. That's the service motion of Isner, and the good leg bend there. But you can see a little bit off balance as he makes that one, falls over to. You can always tell, and this is the view from behind. See, he moves the hand, change the grip as he goes. Good leg bend, knee bend, and up and at him. And boy, that could have been a slam dunk on any basketball court. But he's had problems with the serve, and it's a lot of the problems come from the other end, the returning ability from Leighton Hewitt. But he's got the job done, and he's held serve first game in the second set.
And he did fashion break points against Hewitt when he was serving for the first.
Well, he's trying to get some rhythm, Isner, but he just pops in the middle of the court there.
Questions are coming in for you, Pat. Hotman Cup at abc.net.au. This was from Brad near the Blue Mountains about the training programs for the elite players now versus the Cash Courier era and how they might differ.
Yeah, well, training, good question, actually. Very good question. You know, training as evolves all the time. I think it's fair to say that players these days do sort of more core type of stability stuff, which was, I suppose, just coming into vogue around my era. I certainly did a lot of backs and sit-ups and stuff like that. But
good
rock footing shot. That's always going to be a winner. But and of course the gym work has come in. But I think it's almost come a bit of a full circle. Certainly lots and lots of running in my era, and I'd have to say the Harry Hopman era too was all about being super fit. And if you look back at the players in that era, they all had strong legs, and they all very fit upper body, but not big. Because tennis players need to be running around for 4 hours. They need to be sprinting left, right, and centre, and they don't want to be carrying any extra weight on their upper body. So for a while there, in the sort of the 80s, 90s, the gym was the thing. You know, players would come up and they'd be quite buffed, you know, really quite big. But now I think it's more lean, upper body sort of stuff, strong but not bulky, and you've got to put the miles in. I mean, there's just no way around it. And you see Andy Murray is now talk about what he does on the track. And that's certainly something I did a lot of. So in many ways, it's almost come full circle.
Well, in the Hopman era, it was more work on the court, and you do 2-on-1 drills and all that to get supremely fit on the court. And as you mentioned, Australia won a lot of Davis Cup ties when we played because we were the fittest team out there. Did a lot of stomach work and a lot of double knee jumps, kangaroo jumps, and a lot of stomach work. A few of the boys did a lot of running, not excessively though. Roy Emerson did probably more than most, but most of the work was done 5-6 hours on the court in 2-on-1 drills.
Of course, you guys played 5 sets
five sets everywhere.
Everywhere, not just
every tournament.
Yep. Okay.
14.
5 aces now for Isner.
Finding the range a little more, and he needs it. He needs a couple of easy first service games in this second set to give himself an opportunity. He's serving first in this second set, so that means he stays in front.
Just every once in a while he does get too close to that ball, doesn't he? No one can coming at him. You got a bit excited about this. Oh, this is a nice ball I can really swing at. Not much, just
enough.
A few centimetres just to catch the bottom end of the racket, the bottom of the head, just near the throat.
So a third double fault to cancel out some of the aces.
It's of course having Leighton Hewitt down the other end of the court makes you press just a little bit more. I'd be inclined to really kick the ball, get a bit more bounce, a little bit of safety over the net, and we'll really jump up high.
Too many players see the ball as quickly as Hewitt against these big servers.
Deuce.
740 love to deuce. Selling himself into a little bit of trouble here, the American.
Broken string, I think, at the other end. No.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, broken string, I think. Yeah. Once that happens, you've just got to try and keep the ball in play.
There's not a lot you can do, isn't it? The opposition wants to keep the ball in play, make you have to hit an accurate shot. To get accuracy with a broken string is almost impossible.
Well, he made the first one, didn't he? Because he probably got it in the middle of the racket. Look where that string broke. That's done right at the knot. The string is tied at the bottom, so unfortunate situation there for the American. He's down a break point now.
Hasn't had much luck, has he? So
No,
far?
not at all. Don't go to the casino.
Oh, he's in a bit of trouble there because he's staying at it.
Break point for Hewitt. Well seen off. Half a dozen now for John Isner.
Maybe that's the racket he needed. That one, pinpoint accuracy in the corner, wasn't coming back.
Advantage USA.
Fortune rode against him, but John Isner holds his serve and keeps things tidy in the second set, 2 games to 1.
Maybe some players like to save their special serve, like a body serve, for a big point. I'd be interested to see what happens on a break point. Oh, there's a serve with the body straight away. Particularly the first serve into the body.
Oh! First note of frustration from the Australian.
I noticed he was trying to do a bit more with his forehand in his first match, and that time attempting the same shot. And late at times tries something new, misses it a couple of times, and then falls back to his old, at times, the conservative nature of his play, where he can grind out matches. I'd like to see him continually go for that, even though he's missed a few. As gutsy as he is, and never gives up. Sometimes I think he tends to chicken out a little bit for a couple of mistakes.
30.
On occasion there, he certainly would have expected to make that pass, Hewitt. So even though Isner's been pretty inconsistent on the returns, he's at 30 all now.
Game, Australia.
2-all in the second set. Hewitt with the first in the bag, 6 games to 1.
2 games on.
Let's have a little look at something I noticed about Leighton's serve. It's quite intriguing what he does with the wrist. He lays the wrist back. When he gets it down the back of the racket, back of him, about there, he starts laying the wrist back. And what that does, it actually gives him a little bit extra power, a little bit extra wrist snap, but it can be a risky ploy. If you don't control that, you can have days where you're going to miss a lot of first serves or a lot of double faults. So a little bit is good.
That's exactly what Borgie did, though, to get his serve better. And he just used to stand there with the wrist cocked straight back there and just stand there for hours and throw that without going through the full motion, just so that he got that extra power that you're talking about with the snap of the wrist. But it's got to be perfectly timed. But he did that for hours in practice sessions prior to Wimbledon. He won that a few times in a row.
Yeah, he did all right. Not bad. For a baseline.
Good volley from Isner.
Well, he shuffled his way out of that very, very well. Little skip to the side, and these are little half steps and little adjustments of the body that tennis players need to do all the time. Constantly adjusting their body just fractionally at the last moment. Tell you what, speaking of great athletes, Bjorn Borg, absolute freak. I mean, there is a few freaks in, I think, every generation, and Borg would have to be a freak of nature along the lines, you know, with Usain Bolt sort of people. I mean, he could run and sprint all day. Even now, he played him in the seniors event not that long ago, and I was huffing and puffing, and he didn't even like breaking a sweat. We were in altitude in China playing. And he was absolutely unbelievable athlete.
40-15.
It's the errors for Isner now at 19. So he struck the 5 winners to balance that.
Just going on. Right. The athletic ability stuff. He sort of, for me, Borg is, or Rafa Nadal is a modern Bjorn Borg as far as fitness is concerned.
Game, USA.
A little more of what we expected, though, from John Isner, pounding down the serve and getting some of the cheap points. 3-2 on serve, second set.
I think that's something that makes it pretty special, particularly for Australians and as far as tennis is concerned. Patrick, you can go back to, as we watch this replay, back to the days of Frank Sedgman, who was our early idol, and then through to Hoden Rosemore, and then you come up there with Nuke and Roche, Fraser and Emerson and Laver, and everybody can still get together and enjoy conversations with one another. And I think it makes everybody very proud.
Yeah, one of the great things. One of the things that I wanted to do, I picked up a tennis racket, was a Grand Slam and play Davis Cup.
49.
Well, he's played 26 Davis Cup ties over more than 10 years. His singles record, win-loss 32 and 8.
That's a phenomenal record. Watch closely here to see if, now that Isner is drawing level with Hewitt, if Leighton starts playing a little conservative. Oh,
That's
his time beautifully.
3 games on.
He sprinted through that game.
7th game of the set now. This is where you get down to the business end of the set. You can look for Hewitt to try and tighten things up here, try and get a break. 3-all.
Well, he was there. Just didn't execute it properly. And yeah, a little cross-court backhand volley that would have won the point. Just didn't quite time it well.
Love 13.
A couple of errors have him in trouble here on serve for the first time in the second set, Isner.
This is what you expected from Hewitt at this stage. 3-all, love 30. Now, next couple of points, he's got to try and win one of them. He's got to get the serve back. Well done, boy.
15,
Stepped around that one in a
13.
hurry. Didn't quite get it deep enough. But Hewitt picked the serve. You can see the wry smile on his face there. Pretty close to the line.
At the end of this pivotal service game, Craig Boynton, the Americans coach, will join us.
Yeah.
30 all. Fourteen, 13.
9 aces in the range now.
Good recovery from love 30 down. 3 first serves.
Well, he apologised for that call, but
Juice.
Leighton loves a challenge, doesn't he? I'm going to try and lob this giant. And didn't get over his head, but got him out of position. Taking his time.
Much rests on these next couple of points.
Yep. Get his breath back as long as he's allowed. Probably pushing the time limit now. Gee, that's a big second serve.
USA.
185k. Second serve on the line.
Skidding through. Took the risk.
And he gets the dividend. Isner, it's a good hold from a tight spot. He leads on serve in the second set, 4-3. Hewitt took the first, 6-1. Craig Boynton is the coach of John Isner. And Craig, since last we spoke, a lot of what you mentioned has been carried out by your man.
Yeah, maybe he's got a earpiece and he's listening to us down there.
That must be a good sign for a coach. You can't communicate with him, but he obviously knows the drills that you've set up.
No, John knows his game and what makes him successful, and you know, win, lose or draw, he's got to be true to what to him to his tennis strengths. And you know, we said before, he's not gonna earn a paycheck running left and right. He's got to stay aggressive. He's got to go after his shots, especially his serve, and he's got to come forward and put pressure on whoever he's playing.
You got to be pretty happy with that game, Craig. Down love 30 in that game, and he came up with 4 big deliveries to get himself out of strife.
Yeah, no doubt. That was a huge game to this point. I mean, if John has any hope at all, he can't afford to lose serve at all. Leighton's holding comfortably. John's had a couple of looks at 30 all, but you know, the margin for John right now is razor thin, and he's got to take care of his service game first and foremost to have any chance, and then hopefully maybe gets a look at a break point or a look at a mini break and a tiebreaker.
Craig, you can't see what we can see. I assume that lots of...
He can.
Surprised how quick. Well, he was busy looking at the camera. He's doing his hair, looking good.
15 left.
John's got very good footwork for a big fella. Is that something that you know you need to work on? His agility. We could see him skipping around and big shoes to lift up.
Well, one of the goals for him this off season was to get in better shape and also not be able to explode out to those wide balls. As you can see with Leighton and Robredo, they really want to expose his movement. He's able to not only get to the ball, but get to the ball with, you know, half step closer. Then he can put a little bit more movement on, a little more strength on the ball. You know, right there, that's a great example. It's a great example of his movement. He was able to extend the point with his movement, make Leighton hit one more shot, and fortunately for John, Leighton missed it. It's a kid.
And Craig, just as we let you go, there's a lot of parochial interest, obviously, in the stadium for Hewitt. How are you seeing the Australian?
Well, Leighton got off to a great start. He's moving well. He's playing John perfectly. He's you know, it's no surprises with Leighton. He's a true champion. This is the second time John's played him. He's played great both times. You know, he's had some issues with his health last year, but he seems to be moving very well, tracking down lots of balls, and he's a nightmare to play when he's able to get in position and make his opponent hit one more ball. And the thing about playing Leighton is you're worried about his speed, so you overplay a ball that normally you just comfortably hit in a corner and come in.
It's a great insight. We really appreciate it, Craig.
My pleasure.
Craig Boynton, the coach of John Isner, as we get to the crux of the matter in the second set. Hewitt is impenetrable on serve for the time being.
He loves that shot, and it's a good strategy, particularly with a big man, because if you can put the big man off balance, as he was there, moving over to cover the backhand, and then he's got a prop, put those size 15 shoes on the ground and try and recover, and you've got a chance back in behind him. The fans with all the
That's
Aussie
the literal
flags.
Aussie fan.
Yeah. There you go. 4-all now.
The serve has been dominant right through this second set. Can Hewitt find a way through here? The 1-2 punch from the American.
He had to find the angle too. If he'd have played it deep down the court, Hewitt was there. He was on track. He found the angle for the winner. An excellent second serve from Isner there, right at the body. And Hewitt was squeezed to play that one right off his navel here. And he gets it back into play, but he hit it off the backhand, and that opened up that side of the court. Isner, again, with good footwork, very quick to pounce on that forehand.
It's tight in the 9th game of the second set.
Now that return there, that's a good indication of how the big man has to bend his knees, because you have a look how straight up he is when this return comes back to Isner. Straight up in the air, lifted up from there, and the ball doesn't go anywhere when that happens. It lifts straight up, and he's not much knee bend. He's got to get down to that ball, and that was a lack of good footwork on that occasion.
Good way to relieve the tension. Blast down an ace.
Yeah, well, Hewitt's been doing well, just rushing. As Fred said, he didn't really have a lot of time to get around. Needed super quick footwork. I imagine that's going to be something he's going to have to continually work on throughout his career. See how much talent he's got, and he's certainly not just a serve.
Only needed the one chance to hold, and he is done with a ripping forehand.
USA lead 5 games to 4.
Seeing a lot of these shots, ground strokes, isn't it? They're not far off, are they? I mean, he's hit a big handful of shots just over the baseline today. That's been great serve, hasn't it, from Hewitt?
You've got to like the way Isner's come back in this, because he started off horrendously in the first set and was down and out before he could get on the board, down 5-love. Hewitt continued to serve exceptionally well, and he's found the spots.
And that serve there, that's one of Hewitt's favourite ones. A tough one to do, because you need to move out quickly, but you don't want to be rushing. You need to be balanced. Time, John is now almost too quick out there. He's obviously fully aware that he needs to get those big legs moving. That's the tricky thing about tennis. You get an inch or so out of position, and then you miss the shot. Another one.
Hewitt unrelenting, taking down his opponent, and a lineswoman has collateral damage. 5-all in the second set.
2 for 1 there. Watch the perspiration there dripping off the bill of John Isner's cap there. It is very, very warm conditions here in Perth, and it's a little cooler inside the dome, but not much. Look at that. And that's dripping on the court. That could cause a few problems if you get your tennis shoe on something like that. It slips.
Good footwork
15
and clever positioning, actually. You'd think that most of the pros would be aiming for one of the corners, and that's probably fair too, because Leighton was heading one way, came back and sort of got caught, so smashing it right down the middle.
Resisted the temptation to make any of his adjustments on the way down.
Well, I think he probably need to wipe his brow a bit.
USA is challenging the ball on the right service line. The ball's out.
Isner's looking for a touch on the service line here. He won't get it.
7-0.
It's a good call. The linesperson. Well, a couple of times today he has been right there.
USA has
and
two
has not been able to time it properly. Just cut underneath it a little bit. I know he's going for the drop shot, so he needs to cut under it a little bit. A little, frustrating because he was in the right position.
15 all on the serve. Tremendous hustle from Hewitt.
Makes him play one more ball. An unbelievable effort to get to the serve. And Hewitt's been able to pick this serve and get the racket on the ball and make him play one extra shot. Stretches, and this is an easy miss, but he puts the pressure on the big man to go for that forehand. That's the second one, and this is mid-court. Bread and butter forehand misses, so it just shows you if you're quick enough to get the ball back, make your opponent play that extra shot.
Hewitt has a look here. Not for long.
Very quick look.
Just a peek.
About half a second, I guess.
A dozen aces from the racket of John Isner. 16 over 3 sets against Tommy Robredo on Sunday.
A few dollars to charity as well.
He's doing his bit.
14-13.
I think he should be like a real estate agent. I think he should get a commission off it.
It'll work to the tournament, you think, before they come in. Okay, I'll serve the aces. Some will go to charity, but...
No, I'm sure he's very happy for it all to go to charity. He's, as you mentioned earlier, a very nice young fella. Again, that one low down. He just does the job of getting the ball back. He knows that the incoming volley has got to bend down low, and he has to make his own pace on this. All Hewitt does is just chip it back, but it's down low, and Isner is round about the service line and stretching down, bending down low to get to that. It's a tough shot for him.
It's a tough shot for anybody. Yep. Any good top volleyer, great mover, very good return. And he rushes him again.
Hewitt's got himself a break point.
Australia.
The break points since the early stages of a brief first set have been a long time coming. Can Hewitt barge through?
Australia.
And Hewitt is in for the kill. Breaks at the decisive moment late in the second set. And after the sit down, He can complete the job.
6 games to 5.
It's amazing the tension that builds up in a situation like that, isn't it? You know, you're out there and you just wait for that one opportunity. He had it early in this game and an ace went down. On this occasion, he misses the first serve. Hewitt gets the ball back and then releases the tension, and that's the come on.
Yeah, just getting those extra balls back and scraping the balls. I mean, he's made one heck of a living doing that. So quick and tough when it counts.
What about the forehand that we've seen today?
Well, I've been impressed to see him, you know, at least trying to attack and develop this shot to become bigger and better. Wrong footing there. Good hand control on a half volley, hooking that across. That's the way to do it. And not at times overplaying the ball, but that's a classic case there. Not doing more than he has to do, and this is something a lot of the juniors and a lot of players who come on the circuit, they think that they have to hit the ball a million miles an hour. They don't. And it's got a lovely, smooth, round take back. That's right. Hold that flag up and make sure we see the stars. It's not Great Britain playing.
The moment for Leighton Hewitt.
15
Good way to start. He has not played in a winning tie here at the Hopman Cup since the 16th edition of the tournament. 5 consecutive losing ties in which he's won his singles in all but one occasion. Victory is on offer here.
He needs to work on his mixed game, doesn't he? Clearly. Right. Job to be finished here first.
Taken him down that route a couple of times.
He has, and you know, in a way, I feel a bit sorry for John Isner, who's been in a position perfect, had he got his racket right on the ball several times. Leighton not overplaying it. He knows that, okay, if I just get the good solid passing shot. Isner's not on the song today. With that, sets up 3 match points.
He has been a force since the moment he walked out on court. 3 match points for Leighton Hewitt. And he does it emphatically.
Set match. Australia.
Hewitt wins the tie for
6-1,
Australia.
7-5.
He put the foot on the throat right from the outset, and he never let up. Hewitt chops down his bigger opponent, 6-1, 7-5, and Australia win the tie on the back of 2 dominant singles performances.
I played extremely well. You know, John's always going to be an awkward player for anyone. You know, he's pushed Federer before. He beat Roddick in 5 sets in a thrilling match at the US Open at the end of last year. And you know, I played him a couple of months ago, so I kind of knew what to expect. Obviously, he and Ivo Karlovic have a couple of the biggest serves in the game. So, yeah, I returned extremely well. I made him play a lot of balls out there, and you know, really stepped up my game.
So Australia with an unassailable 2-love lead, but in this tournament, every game counts. Could Hewitt and Stosur make it a clean sweep in the mixed doubles? Find out next.